Hi, and welcome to this week's lecture. We are going to be going over our objective. I can participate in conversations on a number of familiar topics, asking and answering simple questions using simple sentences. Okay, so for our focus on simple sentences, we are going to start with the materials that we'll need. For this lecture, we're only going to need our notebook and a pen or pencil for note-taking. To start us off, let's go over some new verb vocabulary. This is just a simple list of a few verbs. Cantar, to sing, nadar, to swim, leer, to read, correr, to run, bailar, to dance, jugar al fútbol, to play soccer, hacer la tarea, to do homework. So you might want to jot these down in your notes so you can refer back to them easily and not have to come back searching through the slides. So we are going to work with the verb poder, to be able to. So this is just our little conjugation breakdown. This verb does conjugate normally with the endings, but it also has a stem change, meaning that the spelling will alter from one tense to the next, or from here, poder in the infinitive form, to being conjugated to our person, whoever is doing the action. So for yo, it's the regular O ending, and the O does change to UE for spelling, so that would leave us with puedo instead of podo if the O didn't change. Tu, the ES ending that we're used to, O to UE would be puedes. Él, ella, usted, the E ending, O to UE spell change, so puede. Nosotros, the hemos ending, and this one does not change. So it does not change in the first person plural or the nosotros form. So that leaves us with podemos instead of podemos. So the O here is unchanged from the original stem. Finally, ellos, ellas, or ustedes has our normal EN ending, and it does have a change of O to UE, leaving us with pueden. Go ahead and make note of that, especially just the original spelling and this column here, which tenses, or sorry, which people do and do not have a stem change. You can figure out the rest from our prior knowledge, but it would be good to have especially this note here on your notebook so you can refer back to it easily. Okay, so if poder is how we say that we are able to do things, how do we make it negative? How do we then say that we cannot do something? In Spanish, to make a verb negative, all we need to do is use the word no. The difference in Spanish between can and cannot is the addition of no. There is no such thing in Spanish as a double negative, where you cannot in English say, I can't not. In Spanish, you can, you do. That's how you make sure that it goes from the positive form to the negative form of the verb. So when we're asking a question, we need two negatives, meaning that if someone said, can you, and you intended to say, I cannot, or no, I cannot, they would say, puedes, or puede, and you could say, no, no puedo. The first no answers the question of whether you can or cannot, and the second no makes the verb negative. So no, no puedo. One thing to keep in mind is that when we have two verbs in a row, we only conjugate the first verb. Two verbs in a row, the first one conjugates, the second one no. The second verb will stay in the infinitive form. For example, when we say I can sing, where both can and sing are verbs and are right next to each other, we only conjugate can, the first of the two verbs, which is poder, and we leave sing or cantar in the infinitive form. It would be I can, yo puedo cantar, instead of canto being conjugated as well. So the two verbs in a row, first one conjugated, second one no. Definitely make note of this, because we will need that a lot throughout the semester, and it's just a really good handy tip to have in your notebooks written down. So let's go ahead and try it out. If we say, if somebody asks us, ¿Puedes jugar al fútbol? And we want to answer positively, yes we can, we would say, sí, puedo jugar. If you cannot, and you want to answer negatively, we say, no, no puedo jugar. No, the first no answers the question of yes or no, can we or can we not, and the second no makes this verb, puedo, negative. So no, no, we cannot. So go ahead and find from our first few slides here one of these words and replicate these sentences with a different verb. And write that down in your notebook for your lecture assignment. We'll go over that in class. Okay, so just to recap, we should have these verbs written down for vocabulary, this table to what extent that you think you need the practice, so the O, ES, E, emos, and end endings, whether you have these memorized. If you have them memorized, you probably won't need to write them down, but if you could use the practice, go ahead and get that written in your notebook. But these O to U, E endings and stem changes, you will want to have these written down, because those do get a little bit confusing with our poder verb. Next, we do want to have our sentence, two verbs in a row, first one conjugated, second one no. And if you need to give yourself a little bit of an explanation of what that is reminding you of in your notes, go ahead and do that, because it's not useful to look over notes if you're not remembering the scenario for which you wrote it down. Then finally, you're going to come back and ask and answer these questions. So the first one, you can change this to whoever you want to ask the question to, and change jugar al fútbol to a different one of our verbs, and then go back and answer it first positively, yes I can, and second negatively, no I cannot. Also write down any questions that you've had over this poder verb and this concept. I know that it is a lot of information, so you probably will have a few questions, and we will be able to go over those in our classroom setting where we have more appropriate interaction to be able to kind of delve into this a little bit deeper. But go back through these slides and get a good base knowledge so that we can have a meaningful discussion with already having taken care of a lot of the superficial information. Okay, thanks, until next time.